Hello, this is Mike from Dimensional Walking, and today we're going to do a video, and we're going to title this video, Does the Vatican Have UFO Secrets Worth Keeping? And I'm going to leave this as a question, and you can comment on that type of question, but I'm going to give you some interesting stuff since a lot of people are talking about the Vatican now. But about the Vatican and and at the end, I'll tell you some of my own personal connections with the Vatican and some of the things I've learned about UFO stuff in the Vatican archives. Okay, so let's get started. So, the Vatican's historical archives have long been a source of intrigue, and some researchers believe they may contain information related to UFOs and extraterrestrial beings. While the Vatican has not officially confirmed that they have any of this type of stuff that's involved, speculation persists due to its vast collection of documents spanning centuries. Okay? So, one claim that has gained attention and traction is that the Pope Pius the 12th allegedly shared information with the United States about a crashed UFO recovered by Mussolini, Benito Mussolini, in the 1930s. This theory has brought forward by the former U.S. intelligence officer David Grush, who testified before Congress about the alleged government cover-up of the alien-related discovery. However, the Vatican archivists have dismissed these claims, liking them to requests for mythical documents such as personal letters from uh, Pius uh, the Fifth or the Virgin, or I'm sorry, Pontius Pilate or the Virgin Mary. Okay. Despite skepticism, some researchers argue that the Vatican archives contain reports of unidentified aerial phenomena witnessed by religious figures. Diana Walsh, a religious studies professor, has suggested that historical records, including accounts of nuns witnessing orbs entering their cells or other paranormal events that could be interpreted as UFOs, have occurred. She believes that the Vatican is in a rush to digitize these archives, prioritizing which they deem the most important, which may leave certain unexplored records hidden from the public scrutiny. The Vatican has historically maintained cautious stance on extraterrestrial life, okay? But they're really interested in it, I will tell you that, and I'll tell you that a little later. The Vatican Observatory, led by Jesuit astronomers, has explored the possibility of alien existence from theoretical or theological perspectives. These Vatican scientists have stated that belief in extraterrestrial life does not contradict Catholic teachings, as the creation of God's creation could extend beyond the earth to all living entities. Okay? Ultimately, whether the Vatican holds secret worth keeping information on UFOs and alien beings remains a matter of speculation. While some researchers push for greater transparency, the Vatican officials have largely dismissed claims of hidden extraterrestrial knowledge. Now, I would make that would make sense. I think they probably wouldn't all of a sudden jump out now and say, "Hey, aliens exist," and blah blah blah, because of the simple fact, how do they, aliens, God? It's going to get a little mucky there, a little bit, to say the least. The mystery surrounding the archives continues to fuel curiosity, leaving questions open-ended for those who seek answers beyond official statements. So, what is the Vatican's official stance on alien life? Vatican has maintained an open mind stance on the possibility of extraterrestrial life. The Vatican Observatory, which is led by the Jesuit astronomers, has explored the subject from a theoretical and theological perspective. Um, so there is this father who is, kind of has stepped out and said a few things about the possibility of ETs. And his name is Jose Gabriel Funds, Funds, a former director. He was a former director of the Vatican Observatory, stated that believing in aliens does not contradict Catholic doctrine. Okay, he suggests that extraterrestrial beings, if they exist, could be considered part of God's creation, which makes sense, much like other earthly creatures. Funds Father Funds also noted that if extraterrestrial life were discovered, it would not necessarily require redemption through Christ, as they may have remained in full harmony with their Creator. The Vatican has emphasized that God's creative freedom is limitless, meaning that the existence of extraterrestrial life would not challenge Christian beliefs. While the Vatican does not have an official doctrine on aliens, it acknowledges that scientific dialogue between faith and science. So, anyways, that's kind of what the feelings are at the Vatican. Now, let me tell you about a little bit of my own personal investigation. Okay, so I had a friend, and he was a priest. He was actually a priest that had worked in the Vatican, and he was a Jesuit. Okay, so he's a real thinker. He was a writer. He wrote a lot for the Vatican on various subject matter. I will tell you that when I used to visit him in Flagstaff, Arizona, he had this wonderful, I guess he called it, I don't want to say a sanctuary, but it was a house that I'm not sure what the relation. I know he had still was getting a stipend from the Vatican, and he was doing writing for the Vatican. And I know that whatever it was pretty. I don't want to say top secret because whenever we went out for a lunch or dinner, he would always handcuff his briefcase with his very most important papers in it, and we'd have to trug that along wherever he would go, and he would still be handcuffed to his wrist while he was eating. And it was very strange. A lot of people give it a lot of strange looks. But anyway, something very important was in there. He never would tell me, of course, but it was just really strange, to be perfectly honest with you. But anyways, he worked at the archives for several years, and he did say that um, there was some really interesting material in the vaults, as he called it, and his there has always been this really big interest. He said in aliens and UFOs, um, and he said that obviously there was a lot of sensitive material there at the archives that he did not know if it's ever going to see the light of day, basically. And of course, he couldn't tell me anything. He was sworn to some Vatican code that he could not tell anything, any detail, anyways, at the very least. But I did trust and believe him. Okay, after being around him and talking to him for several years before we lost communication. But I think this guy was the real thing. He was definitely worked at the Vatican. He showed me a lot of documentation and other things. All it was is really just showing that he had worked there and been there in pictures. I think he had a picture of many of the cardinals. I don't think he had a picture of the Pope at the time with him, but he had a lot of pictures of the cardinals. He had a lot of pictures of the inside of the Vatican. Some of them I personally recognized. So, anyways, that was that. So, there is a great interest in the Vatican on UFOs and on alien type stuff. Okay. So, anyways, maybe the new Pope, whoever that would be, uh, would consider letting out some of this UFO type wisdom out of their vault. Who knows? Maybe not. We'll have to see. Anyways, that's it. We'll see ya. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.